card. And today I have Scott Kobayashi. He's coming in from. Oh, you're on Oahu, right?
Yep, I live on Oahu in Hawaii.
And your business is Hawaii Reward Travel. Tell us a little bit about what you do for folks, locals on Hawaii.
Yeah, as a local that lives on Hawaii, I'm here to help locals travel more and really get a great understanding of credit cards and points and miles. So that's what our company does. We really focus in on flying from and to Hawaii.
That's great. And give us a little background for how long have you been earning points and miles with various credit cards?
Oh gosh, it probably makes 10 years this year. Just from being out of college and young and married, just being super broke and wanting to still travel and yet save for important things like a house, that got us into this credit card game. And almost 10 years later, this is where we're at. We have traveled so much around the world, do a lot of staycations. We're a family of five now, three young kids, and we get to help other local people achieve the same kind of things in traveling.
I when I think about, you mentioned family. When I think about family, I think about some of the experiences that we have had as a family using points and miles, how that's really changed my life. I mean, I would say honestly, if it wasn't forced to, because I had to look at new ways because of family, if it was just solo travel me, I probably would have enough travel that I could have just done it via cash. But I think when you start looking at how do you afford 4 or 5 people to go somewhere,
Sure.
that becomes exponentially more expensive. And then we start looking, because here's what I think a lot of people who are non-points miles normally think, that if you're a business traveler or if somebody's paying you to travel, you should be earning a lot of miles, and that's how you earn all your points. I think that's what I think a lot of people think, or somehow we're just wealthy. And I think one of the things that I think what we try to do, you and I try to do, is show folks that there is another way, that they can earn points.
Absolutely. I mean, if it wasn't for points and miles and credit cards, there's no way we could afford family vacations. It's almost impossible. I mean, cost of living is so high here in Hawaii. We're either top or number two in the country. And on top of that, we're far away from the mainland US. And so we have to pay a little bit more, do a little bit more traveling. So any kind of way to save money, to increase my financial knowledge, to travel more, I'm in. And that's what pushed me into this direction. And now we get to live out those dreams. We just came back from a mini staycay at the Marriott down in Kapolei. And I just used a free night certificate and a couple points after. And it's like, man, like I'd be paying $350 for this staycay, but because of what we do, we're paying way less.
So, but by the way, I when I do my master class, there's 2 properties I usually use in Hawaii. Actually, I actually have a lot of Hawaii examples in my master class. One of the ones that I do is in Maui. There's an AC hotel and there's a Residence Inn. Have
Oh
you been?
yes,
Have you been to either one of those or both?
I've been to the Residence Inn. Oh my goodness! I mean, one, it's a great redemption. I think we used a whole bunch of our certificates there, and it's just perfect for the family. You literally got the pool right outside. Like we had a balcony view, and you could see the pool. And my kids every day they would just wake up and stare at the pool, and it just was. It was one of the best staycays we ever took, in Maui, and so I really love that hotel.
Now people may be kind of turned away because at first it's a Residence Inn. Like I didn't fly all the
Yeah,
way to Hawaii, but it's not like your
sure.
normal Residence Inn, is it?
No, I mean, I posted about this. Well, I think the residence inns in Hawaii are very nice. Let me just give you a background about the one we just stayed in Kapolei. It was the first time I stayed in this one. It's a mixture of locals and tourists that come in. And if you're not from Hawaii, it's standard that anytime you enter into a home, you take off your shoes or slippers, right? That's a local thing. It's an Asian thing as well in Japan. But because there was so many locals that stayed at this residence inn, two things that I noticed that were so different from all the Marriotts I stayed at. Super clean carpets. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like literally, like we took off our slippers because we're like, this is clean. And we're, you know, we have, we're parents of young kids. We're very aware that the carpets are super dirty because our
Yeah.
kids drop stuff and pick up stuff and eat off the ground. But I kid you not, that was the cleanest carpets I've ever experienced. residence in Kapolei. And second, this is so cool. I mean, you're way outside of Waikiki, so it's not that crowded. And I think it's almost every night they bring in food trucks, local food trucks that park right outside the Residence Inn. And so instead of, like if you want to get commercial dining, you can go, to Colina. They have great stuff there. I love the monkey pod there. But
Yeah.
all these local food trucks just park right outside that Residence Inn. And if people are looking for a more local experience, that Residence Inn was really nice. And it's a great breather from, just the congestion of Waikiki, which I like too, but it's good to mix and match it when you're staying here in Hawaii.
That's wonderful. So you recommend the property then if you end up there?
I do. I mean, I could use my certificates there. That's one great reason.
How
Um,
many points? How many points is that a night over there?
so I had this when I redeemed it. I think it was 47,000. So easily 50, close to 50K. But even if it's a 35K certificate, that's 12 more thousand points for a $300 a night stay. And it's beautiful there. It's a nice property. I think it was constructed in 2019, so it's relatively new and it's really nice.
So for those who are not aware, if you have a free night certificate from Marriott, it's 35,000. But if the
Yeah,
hotel's a little bit more than that, you can add on top off with another up to 15,000.
15th. Yeah.
Scott says it's only another 12 for that property, so 47,000 gets you in at the residence in Kapolei. I don't know if I've stayed in that area. Weren't they supposed to build a Hyatt out there as well?
I think so. Yes, and I mean the whole community is under development. There's a lot of new things popping up, and even that one, that was the first time that It's kind of like in a residential area, so
It's near the
I've never.
university, right? There's a university nearby.
Yeah, like a couple, like it's not too far away, and it's newer development, and so I think that's why it goes under the radar of a lot of people that are looking for stays, and it's great if you want to check out the West Side beaches. I think that's a property much more closer to that side.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, let's get into this brand new card that I'm calling it a brand new card because I think right now the way they're looking at it, it's changing. So I want to kind of cover what is the current for another week and what it will look like as soon as it gets rolled out. So I've called it did we win or did we get played?
I love that
Let,
title. Great
let's
title.
let's take a look here. Let's take a look. Okay. Now, if I only knew how to move it forward. There you go. Let's see here. All right. So let's break down a little bit about what I think is important about the CSR. You said you've had that card for many years, right?
Yeah.
Recently.
It was my
Can you
first top tier premium card that I've held.
tell me what attracted you to getting the card, the card in its current form in the first place? What did you like about it and why did you get that?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I love Chase. That was the rewards program that I built a lot of my other cards off of, and so it just makes sense to get the top tier card in the ecosystem. I really think the travel credit's really easy to use. It's just reimbursement, $300, right, per year. I think it just made the annual fee a lot less than what it is marketed as. And also, that was my first card that gave me Priority Pass membership. And at the time, it still had
Mm,
access to restaurants in the airports too. And I
yeah.
remember just thinking as a young traveler, like, this is amazing. Like, I get all this free stuff. We went on a bachelor party with four other guys to San Francisco, and I remember busting out the Priority Pass from that card, and I think it was $27 per person up to two guests, or no, one guest, but three of us had the CSRs, and so we covered
Well,
everyone's breakfast,
everyone, yeah.
and then we went to the next restaurant and we got like bottled waters for the whole trip, right? I'm just looking at it, I'm like, this makes a lot of mathematical sense. It's a
Yeah,
great card.
you almost felt like you were making money off the card.
Yeah, we were,
I
we
mean,
were.
yeah, you do a couple of restaurants. You're like, oh my God, this is like really
Makes
great.
up for it, right?
San Francisco's the best. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about what's before and what's going to change. The redemption values, if you're using the portal, is going to change as well. And there's a big push on the travel portal, on the Chase travel portal. And then we'll talk about some of the new credits, whether they're worthwhile or whether you can use it. And then What's happening on October 26th? So there's a couple dates that everyone needs to be aware of. One is going to be June 23rd, and the other one's October 26th. So keep that in mind. June 23rd, October 26th. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then whether you should keep the card, downgrade it, or if you don't have it, should you go and get the card? So those are some of the things that we're going to cover right now. Let's talk about the thing that everyone's talking about right now, which is the annual fee. I remember, Scott, when I got the card when it was only $450. You remember when it was that, right?
Yes.
And then it went up to $550, and I was like, well, I think it was because the platinum card, the competitor, that went up, and like,
Yeah.
Chase, like,
Okay,
we
it's
could
better.
we could do the same thing too, So I think they went up to $550, and now they want to one up it a little bit. We'll see. Actually, we'll see, because I heard there's rumors that the platinum may push almost 1,000.
So crazy.
I think I'm hearing $995 on the platinum. That's what I'm hearing. $995.
Same here.
Yeah. I mean, at some level, we're just kind of going, I understand there's credits, but like, is this making sense anymore?
Maybe they're working together with that thing, like, okay, $995, that's Amex Platinum, but $795, not too bad for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I mean, seriously, this is a huge increase in
Look,
price. It's $245.
You and I know new people to Points of Miles. The first thing they're allergic to paying $95. like I need to tell them it's $95. What is $795? That's like, I'm like, so at some level, I'm just gonna say this. Should I just get 7 cards of $95?
Oh, maybe.
Or should I pay, or should I, pay $795 for one card, I mean, at some level, I'm starting to think that, now, and I know some people are thinking about that. So let's take a look. It's $550 right now. An authorized user is $75. That is changing. It's going up $245, and so that's going to be $795 starting in a week or so. And then the authorized user fee is going up to $195. Let's talk about that for a second. User fee $75. Authorized user $195. Now, we're coming off the heels of last week. Last week, we just heard about Capital One, right? Capital One decided they were going to be they went from the most generous priority pass to the one like, nah, if you like priority pass authorized users, no, not us. You go get your own.
Boy.
It sounds like everyone's going after authorized users now.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like
it feels like, I mean, I'm a basketball fan and an NFL fan. I feel like this is like the off-season trades. All these things, they're just making adjustments and they're reacting and responding. And I just feel like, man, like it's exciting on one end because all these changes are happening. But it's almost like if you're a part of a team and you lose like your star player or your star perk, it feels like a loss. And so I think we're just here observing the off-season trades and seeing what's happening, who's moving what, and seeing how these banks react to each other. So I have mixed feelings about the increases, especially with Capital One, and changing their policy for their authorized users. This is more than double price for the authorized user for Chase, right? And I just think overall, I'm just a little surprised and bummed that the prices are increasing so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at what they're gonna do now with that whole thing. So let's see here. By the way, do you have the Capital One card?
Or Venture X? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have Venture X. What? By the way, before we get any further, what was your gut reaction about the whole Capital One changes?
It's an okay change. Like my wife and I have we have a lot of overlap for all the priority pass. But so it wasn't as big a blow as what's happening with Amex and Chase. So I would say like it's not like I didn't take the news as drastic as what happened in the last week with Chase and Amex.
Let's take a look here. So I have the next slide. This is what happens when you have too many. By the way, I think we are live on IG Live. I'm just taking a look right now.
Oh, perfect.
I can't see it, but I think we are live. All right. So let's go to this. Okay, so the earnings is changing. So the old version is 3x on flights.
3x.
And you didn't have to go through the portal. 4x, I'm sorry, 3x on flights, 3x on hotel, and then 3x on all other travel. And now they're going to move that to 4x, but via the portal, 4x on the portal. I'm sorry, 4x, not on the portal.
Yep.
When you use a portal, you get 8x. And then, by the way, sometimes I put 5x there, but there were times where it was 10x on the flying hotel in the portal. And then the biggest loss is this all other travel. So before, there's this really broad category of travel. So that's cruises. Okay, cruises you would earn 3x. That's like Airbnbs and all the vacation rentals, parking, tolls, campgrounds, RV fees, all that kind of stuff. So all that is going away. Now, for those who are missing it, if you have the Ink Preferred on the business side, that I think they're still keeping that. So that may actually be the winner coming out of this whole thing, is that the travel, the Ink Preferred side coming out. And then now it's going to drop to 1x, or pretty much non-existent now. At 1x, it's kind of like saying we don't really want to give you anything on that one. And then dining went from 3x on dining. That still stays the same. That doesn't change. Secretly, Scott, really, I kind of wish they try to match the gold, the Amex gold. Do you know what I mean? If they were going to try to do something, this one, they had a chance here, because let's talk about this, for example. Let's just talk about this, for example. Amex Gold at 4x, 3x on the CSR. The Amex Gold is a $300 card. This is like double the fee. This is double the fee. Okay.
I mean, that's a great, if they change dining and grow to 4x,
yes,
I would think a lot differently. I think that's a great long-term hold. That is directly competing against the Amex Gold card. I would. We'd be having a different conversation.
You don't understand. I mean, see, when I look at the card, I'm looking at it and I'm like, what's here that I can benefit from right now? I'm just looking at it right now, because the way I look at it is the old card is the old card, which really they didn't do much since 2016. And I'm going to give it a background. In 2016, the most incredible thing when this card came out, I just thought oh, wow, this is going to be a keeper forever. But everyone eventually caught up over time, and now it's kind of lackluster. And then now they're redoing the whole card, but it's like they gave us, but they took away, like they gave us a 4x, but then they took away this one with the 1x. Couldn't they just not keep it 4x?
Which is crazy. Crazy. I don't get it.
So when I'm looking at this right now, I'm just looking at this part how we're earning points. I'm just like, how is this better? I'm trying to understand this really. The 1x is better, the 1x a little bit more, but you took away the somewhere else. Like there was a lot of takeaway for not a lot of give. And so anyway, I'm fine with this, but let's go take a look. They decided they were going to do it other ways. They were going to give it to us. They were not going to give it to us.
Oh boy.
They decided they were going to follow a different strategy. So let me kind of cover this part as well. So there's a new strategy, which is they want us to, remember how you would get 1.5 cents if you used the portal?
Standard.
Right? Standard. They're going to take that away. Come on now. Okay. Now they're replacing it with something, but it's not concrete. By the way, if you have the old card and you haven't canceled it and you still have the reserve, they're going to still grandfather you in at 1.5 if you have points before the end of this week. So you'll still have it until like October 2027. So for everybody who has the card, you don't have to worry. Hopefully you'll use up all the points at one point by that time. But all the new points you're going to earn, there's this thing called Points Boost. Points Boost. And here's the thing. Look at Points Boost. They said you can get up to 2 cents, which sounds great. I'm like, okay, well, 2 is better because they're already kind of doing 2 right now anyway. But then they're saying only on select portal bookings. So they're going to pick and choose which one to give 2 cents. If not, it's going to be 1 cent. So it could be 1, it could be 2. it's like a little lottery going on now.
Let's be honest. I think majority of the bookings will be at the baseline of probably 1%, which is like the other portals, right? It's usually get or cash back 1 cent per. And yeah, I just think that's just marketing. It just gives us false hope that like, oh wow, 2 cents, big improvement, up to 2 cents, great, you know. And I'm assuming even for those that do use their points off of, on other things like Apple, right? I would get excited when they would offer Apple discounts, usually during the Christmas time. And I know of some clients or people who don't travel that much, but they have a lot of Chase points. And I'm like, hey, like if you don't want to redeem for travel, Apple products 1.5 cents.
Yeah.
And I know they would get excited, but now that this whole structure is going, who knows what's going to happen? Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is where they're leaning on. They said, well,
Yeah.
if Amex can do it, we can do it too. Like we can do it better, I guess. I don't know. I mean, let's just take a look. The $300 travel credit that we've grown to love and know is still the same. So they didn't play around with that. So that's good. That's still one. But they're also giving us $250 airfare credit, but you got to use the portal, and they're splitting it up in the by you're going to get 250 and 250. So you're going to get 500, but you got to use a portal only.
Portal only.
There's another 250 and 250 in the edit hotels. Now, some of the edit hotels are decent. Like I've been at some of them. Like they're, if anybody's wondering, it's going to be similar to what you find with like Amex's FHR, that Fine Hotel Resorts. So they're going to be like that. Like I looked at a few, like the Andaz Scottsdale. If you end up in Scottsdale, the Andaz over there. So they're going to be in your 5-star property. So if you can find a good value on it. But here's the thing. I don't know if you saw this, Scott. It requires 2 nights.
Oh man, I missed that.
You can't do it on one night. Like you got to go 2 nights. You go 250 for 2 nights, and then on the other half, 250 for 2 nights.
Gosh, oh my goodness.
Can you imagine trying to keep track of all this? Yeah, by the way, I have Brooke who's watching, and she's from Card Pointers. I don't know if you use Card Pointers, but a fantastic way to keep track of it. Okay. Brooke says, I didn't see a single property that was crazy good deal, saving $125 a night. I mean, it's going to be this. New Orleans is a good deal. New Orleans, Vegas on an off night on a cold week, and it's nobody's out there. I can see it be valuable. Or you're in Southeast Asia, I can see that could be valuable as well. Okay, here's the one I actually thought was going to be pretty cool. There's going to be a $300 StubHub credit. Do you go to concerts or any of that kind of stuff? I don't know if you do. I know
Not that often. So it's going to be a harder sell to our audience here in Hawaii. So that's one that we're just kind of keeping tabs on. But yeah, I personally don't use StubHub, so it'll be something that I would get into if I was going to get this card.
Yeah, and then I don't know about. Actually, I have to go back and look. Instacart, Audible, GoPuff. They're going to probably have something along the lines of that. So they're going to be a bunch of credits. I wanted to bring up a couple things, which is our deadline. So one of them is literally, and probably wondering why are we doing so many, is because on June the 23rd, they're going to open up application for the new card. So there's this little window, everyone. If you get the card right now, you'll probably sign up for the current offer. And the current offer, I think, is 60,000 points. If you wait until June 23rd, they'll get the new offer. Now, if you get the old offer at 60,000 points, you're still paying the old 550 fee. At the new offer, you're going to pay the new fee. So I anticipate that the bonus will be bigger than 60,000 for sure. It will probably be 60. Now, do you remember when you got the card? How long ago was it when you got the card? Is it years ago?
Oh boy, yeah, years ago. It was probably 60,000 when I got, or maybe 8. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember. It was a while ago.
I got it when it first came out. I think it was like the last week. You know when they offer when the card comes out, and then they run it for like a month and a half, and they're like, "This is your last week. You need to get it." I got it in like the last week, and at the last week of the opening, it was 100,000 points. So my anniversary is October the 1st. My anniversary is October the 1st. And I've had that card since 2016. So this will be like 9 years of having the card.
Oh my goodness.
I think I canceled at one point, and then I reapplied and got the card again. So that I think I only got so technically 2 apps in the last 8 years. So
Wow.
So June 23rd, you can have they're changing the rule now. You can actually, because they didn't want to stop people who had the CSP. So they're saying if you want to get the CSR, you can have both now.
Yeah.
So they're making a change just so that you can be able to get the new card. But
Yeah.
but they're also getting rid of the 48 months. So they're getting rid of the 48 month rule. You know how you have to wait 48 months between cards?
Yeah.
Getting rid of that rule, and they're getting rid of, but they're following Amex and they're doing the pop-up jail thing now. They'll say, you don't qualify for it because whatever reason. So it's not a 524 still stays around, but but now they're going to tell you if you're going to qualify for not. So at least people know. Anyway, so if you're thinking about applying for the old card before at the old fee, but with the lower bonus, it's going to be $550 before June 23rd. And then what happens is on October 26th, everyone who has the old card or has existing card, they're going to switch to new earnings and redemption. So that means we can still earn 3x all the way to October, everyone. They're giving us more than a week. So we got all June, July, August, September. We got like 4 months, everyone. We got 4 months of the old earnings until October is a hard stop. And it's like, okay, you're going to be earning on the new program. Yeah, so that's what it's going to look like. So, and then if you have the points at 1.5, they're going to last until October 2027. So those are some of the deadlines that are happening right now. So here's I asked my guest last night. I'm going to ask you, Scott. Scott, what do you think? I know I'm not going to hold you to it, but what do you think they're going to offer for the brand new $795 card? What do you think is it? And they said it's going to be big. So what do you think they're going to offer us so that people like entice us? Because, they throw a big sign-up offer. Everybody's head goes wild, forgets about everything we just discussed and says, oh, yes, I'm going to go for it because of the big bonus. What do you think that bonus is going to look like?
You should run a contest on your Instagram to correctly predict the bonus, because this is a fun one.
Okay, everyone.
Everybody
everybody in the comments right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on IG, tell me what you think they're going to offer. Let's do that. Let's see what everyone thinks. Go for it.
I think it has to be more than 100,000. If it's 100,000, this is like multiple losses on their front. It has to be over, and it has to be memorable. I mean, if they're comparing it to Amex Platinum offers and Amex Personal and Business offers, right? I would guess, if I were to put money on this, I would say, well, I have three numbers in my head. It's either 120, 125, or 150.
Okay.
If I were to put money on it, and if I were then, I mean, obviously I would choose 150 because you're trying to convince people to just go for it, right? But I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be 120. That's my final
120.
answer.
Okay, 120. Yeah. My guess was 125. My guess was 125. I just don't think Chase has been very generous with anything on this right now. I have a hard time they're going to be super generous. Like people are saying 175. I heard 175. By the way, Brooke, do you want to join us? I want to bring Brooke on. If Brooke wants to join us on stage, Brooke, I'll bring you up. Let me know as a yes or no. But 175 to me would match Amex, and I have a hard time seeing them do this match to 175. We would love it. No, here's the other thing. Does that change the equation? Does that change the equation?
The equation if I'm going to get the card?
Yeah. I think that's the thing. Would 175 make you decide to forget about everything else. I'm going to take this card no matter what.
Ooh.
By the way, Brooke, can you join us on stage? Are you able? Is that a yes? Just give me a thumbs up or no, Brooke. Yes? Okay. Brooke.
Hi, Brooke.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Brooke, you look gorgeous. Did your hair and everything.
Thank you.
Brooke,
Hi, Brooke.
I'm asking the question with Scott right now. Brooke from Card Pointers, everybody. If you guys don't have card pointers to keep track of all these credits that Amex and everybody wants to kill us with, there's absolutely no way we're going to remember any of these. I almost want to say everybody should go get card pointers right now just because of that. Okay. Brooke, what do you think that offer will come out when they finally make this announcement, which I think we'll find out by the 23rd when they launch the card? What do you think they're going to offer us for this $795 card as a great big bonus?
Yeah, so you mentioned that they're sort of in a way sort of trying to compete with Amex. They're a little bit different in this space, but Amex has had some pretty attractive, especially in their business, in their business cards, some very, very attractive, sign up bonus welcome offers. So I think that if they're going to try to compete on that same level with a $795 fee, that they're going to have to compete with a really serious sign up bonus, both to keep people, interested and to attract new customers. So I'm thinking it's going to be. So I got the Amex Plaid business when it was $250,000. Now that was a big spend in a short period of time, right? And Amex can be sort of dynamic. So when I say I got that, that doesn't mean that everyone watching it was offered that or could get that, because it sort of depends on a lot of things. And it did have a lot of spend, and I was able to sort of, create that spend through my own business. But a lot of people can't. But with a 250,000 point sign up bonus and a similar fee, I don't see why Chase can't or shouldn't compete with at least 175. I mean, they just offered 100, and that was at the old fee. I think that 175 is not completely unreasonable.
Brooke, do you have the card right now?
My husband has it. Yeah. So we work in P1 and P2 mode. My son turns 18 here in a few days, and then we'll be in P1, P2, and P3 mode. Nice. Don't think I won't take advantage of that.
So far we covered a lot of the. You were here last night. So far as we speak, without knowing the bonus, are you a buyer? Are you going to apply, or is somebody in your family going to apply for the new CSR?
So we'll see. I need to look at where my 48 months are. I'm not exactly sure. So I just downgraded my husband's so that he could, when the 100,000 bonus was up just recently, so that he could, so I downgraded him to a no fee card. And then, of course, he was allowed to sign up anew. So he just got his, and I've had mine for a while. I don't know that my 18-year-old son would qualify. Do I think it's worth it? I'm going to have to see. A lot of these using not just card pointers, but all of the tips and tricks that I have, I can really typically offset an annual fee sometimes by 2 or 3 times, right? You just have to be savvy about how you use it. And I kind of reframe it as, prepaying for these type of things, right? So it's not that it's a fee. I'm just prepaying for my DoorDash, for my things like that. But a lot of these don't have a lot of appeal to me. The edit credit doesn't have, the edit hotels doesn't have a huge appeal for me. The Peloton doesn't have a whole lot of appeal to me. So it's just, I'm not sure. Let's wait and see what the sign-up bonus is. And then if it's really, really high, it's definitely worth considering.
Okay. So here's the thing. I always believe in the first year, we always win, because the bonus is the bonus is going to overcome whatever that. So I think from that perspective, yes. Year 2 is going to be a different story. Like, do we still pay $795 in second year when we got a bunch of perks? Like, let me go out of my way. Let me see what I can do with Peloton. By the way, if anybody has Peloton right now, they're giving like 500 points every time you work out, and you get 500 Hyatt points for every workout in the next 2 months. So that's like
you have to be working out at a Hyatt property, which I found out.
Yes, so but you need to go fly work out at a Hyatt property. So I don't know how many times I'm going to go to. Let me just check in, general manager. We write a letter here. Let me go check in and go work out over there. So it's. It's who are they going after? Who are they doing this? They did a focus group. They did a focus group. They sat down with people and executives. I mean, look, they had 9 years to redo this whole card, and this is what they came back with. Okay, so Priority Pass Lounge remains unchanged, so they're not playing around with that. So they beat Capital One from that perspective. Dining rewards, they're 3x. Okay, they're having their new Chase Dining. Transfer partners stay the same. I talked about it last night. Scott, how do you normally transfer your points? Who do you normally transfer to with these points?
with our kids, we do a lot of Hyatt, we do a lot of Virgin, we do a lot of United. Southwest is still great for inter-island travel. We go to the inter-islands regularly, so those are the ones that we most commonly use. And I just think we'll probably stick with that, for now. I hope that none of those things change in the future, but that's where we mostly use our points here in Hawaii,
You know
or
what?
my family does.
One thing I would have loved to see, Scott, them add a transfer partner. How about that? How
Oh,
about add a transfer partner? Whoa, let me. They could take a page out of Built and add a transfer partner every now and then. Like instead of give us back Korean Airlines, give us back like Amtrak.
oh my gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay. No foreign transaction fees, protection and trip insurance. Okay. They didn't play with the trip insurance. I'm happy about that. I think that's still, by the way, I still think the CSR's trip protection is still stellar and one of the best in the business, except if you live in New York, which they took that away. But otherwise, a great card for that. All right. I have some winners or losers. I said, okay, if you like to book through the portal, you're loving it. If you're looking for business class, they're going to give you 1.75. I think up to 2 now if you're
Yeah.
booking business class
Hmm.
on the portal. So if you like booking through the portal, they like you over there. And dining, cruises, Uber, Airbnb, because remember it was covering all that travel stuff. No more. So you're only going to get 1x. If you're a person that doesn't like to keep track of your stuff, then you're probably going to overpay for the $7.95 unless you keep track. Or go get card pointers, everyone. Transfer partner enthusiasts. If you like transferring, it may still be worth it. But there's other cards that can do that. You can go see,
Yeah.
CSP or the Ink cards to do that. And the CSR and Freedom and the Ink together might be a better to switch to preferred.
Mhm.
Looking going down that road. All right.
Can
Does
I ask
anyone
you a question about that, Scott?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you ever use the portal? I do on occasion, but I'm so hesitant to book through a third party. A, because loyalty matters to me, right? And you can't always,
Mhm.
you can sometimes, but you can't always. And then if something goes wrong, then you're stuck dealing with Expedia or whatever. I live here, I'm based out of Denver. So there's often things that go wrong, right? Weather, a variety of other things. And so I'm so hesitant to book through I am not the portal person. So I'm curious if you have any experience with that.
Yeah, when I first got into all this, I used to do it a lot. I mean, you just could have consistency, right, with 1.5 and availability. I rarely do so. Maybe I haven't in the last few years. But I have a lot of students and clients that like that. They
Yeah.
like that, they have a lot of points. We help them get a lot of points, and they just want peace of mind. That can be debatable, right? Because you're booking through a third party, but just ease of use.
Sure.
When they get caught in the transfer partner game, it's like, whoa, like, okay, like, how do I know if it's available? I don't want to make a mistake. So for those people, I think this is a huge change, and they really have to consider if they're going to keep the CSR or not. So I would say, like, personally, it doesn't make much of a difference. I think I recently downgraded to requalify for the Sapphire Preferred bonus, so I don't have that card anymore. If the bonus was 175, I would get it. That sounds really nice, and I will just reevaluate by year 2. But yeah, I think for me personally, I don't use the portal at all. But a lot of my clients and students do.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How about for you, Brooke? You said you haven't used it for a while, right?
Yeah. I don't typically use it. I mean, I have in the past, but I'm just trying to look at. So I'm evaluating this. I was on Ben's webinar yesterday, just as a listener, because I love to come and if you're not a part of Ben's mentorship class, even though I consider myself an advanced member, I still learn. I still pay to go to Ben's classes because I want to learn from him because he's such an expert in this field. So I was on one of his classes the other day, and he was just talking about, what are the pros, what are the cons, and I was just sort of evaluating it for myself as far as the annual fee. And again, I can almost always offset that. It just, I don't know,
Yeah.
we'll just have to see. And the portal isn't something that has a
Yeah.
whole lot of value to me. The StubHub doesn't have a whole lot of value to me.
Yeah.
So I was just curious what your experience was. And it sounds like your clients do use the portal, and that might be something that's valuable to them, or a way that to increase the value to sort of offset that $800.
Yep. Yep. No, that's totally it. So we'll see. I'm in the same boat as you. I have to reevaluate even personally if I'm going to go for it or not.
I,
But I do know a lot of people that use it.
I do want to say, Brooke, in the past when I have used the portal, I was actually I'm kind of here about the portal. The portal, I think, is good if you're trying to book properties where you don't have status. It's totally fine because at one
Mhm.
point they were giving 5x if you had the preferred, and if you had the reserve, they were giving you 10x. So you kind of go, well, I'm going to lose out on my loyalty points, but if I wasn't shooting for loyalty, or if I stood at a brand that didn't have loyalty with, then it made sense to book through the portal because you were going to earn 10x points
Yeah.
from ultimate rewards. I mean, how can you turn that down? So from that perspective, it was great. If you were going to redeem and the cash rate was low, then that calculation comes into play. So I mean, there is some of it, but I don't always find that the portal even matches a lot of times whatever the direct booking is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Expedia or Connection Loyalty, which is what runs their site, sometimes has a different rate.
Good.
And so it's not always the case that it was the best rate. Maeve, I wanted to clarify. I made a mistake on the last slide. I want to make sure you're aware. The 250 is not an airline credit. The 250 actually is the edit hotel credit. So it's 250
gotcha.
every semi-annually, not you'll still get the travel credit. That's general everything, but the 500 is strictly for the edit credit. And then there's a dining credit with their Sapphire Reserve. So Scott, do you know that Chase wants to get into the dining game? So they have these like exclusive high air and more critically acclaimed restaurants. So if you go eat at one of those, you'll get 150 semi-annually. So every 6 months.
Yeah, which honestly is for us. I mean, we're getting more Chase dining restaurant or like approved restaurants, so that is a talking point for locals here. I looked up the list, and there's at least a few that I have been to in the last year. So it's not like it's just justifiable to pay the annual fee if you're gonna go there like once a year. And it's a mixture. There's like Senya, which is like a high class restaurant. You're gonna pay like a lot per person, over 150. But there's like Namikaze, which is a local fusion place. You can spend $30 there and have a great meal. So I just think that might be a talking point for people that want to use it here. I think it's easier to justify the 795.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the StubHub credit? I know we mentioned it again, but I'm just gonna say it right now. I wish it was just directly with Ticketmaster. I don't know, but okay, that's fine. I gotta go through StubHub because I always feel like, okay, fine. If I go through StubHub, I'm paying. There's like all these fees. There's like the transfer fee. There's a this fee. There's like I'll buy like a $200 ticket, but by the time I see all the fees, it's like another $100 in fees on top of it. So it's like this 150, most of it's probably going to go to fees. I'll end up buying.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I just turned 43, and I feel like I'm just like too old to be going to concerts all of a sudden. I just feel like if it's after 8 o'clock at night, I'm like, nah, I'll catch you tomorrow. So the StubHub doesn't have. There are bad days and other things too, but I just feel like too old for concerts, man.
Come on, Brooke. Aren't you going to go see New Kids on the Block or NSYNC?
Yeah.
I did. I went with my girlfriends last summer to a whole 90s revival, and I am not going to lie. It was fantastic. I mean, these guys were talented back then, but I mean, they can still,
I know. I mean, when I missed one. I think they had one here in New York. Not here, but I remember they had one in New York. It was like called Lovers and something. And then they had like Jodeci. They had like New Kids on the Block, New Edition. Man, back in the day, imagine you had everyone all together. That would be equivalent for the young people who are listening. That would be equivalent to like you getting like Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter and like. And Travis Scott all in one concert and one together. Like, that would be like event. Like that would be what it would be like for us, But yeah, I totally see. So awesome. Anyway, there's Lyft, there's Apple services. I can see the Apple. Do you use the DoorDash, Scott?
Just the takeout credit. Not really use the service. Yeah, pick it up. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for someone who's going to use up all these credits, I guess it'll make sense. I just wish they didn't do the breakage, which is a concept of, if we break it up in a month, you won't use it all up. And so you'll use my Lyft once a month. They don't have Lyft Eats, right? Lyft doesn't do any food delivery yet, do they? That's why you got to do DoorDash.
Not that I know of. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's what they do, the DoorDash. Anyway, I think I had let me see. There was, I wanted to show you something. Because I was going to deal with Brooke's question, because Brooke said about the 48-month deal, but they're making a change on that. So I wanted to bring that one up.
Mhm.
Let's bring this up. So they really want to become Amex. They're going to do their own version of pop-up jail now. So they're going to get rid of the 48-month rule and replace it with something a little bit different, which is their old rule, which says, okay, you can only have one Sapphire card, preferred or reserve, every 48 months, and you can only have one of them. They're changing that, and they're creating this kind of like pop-up jail thing where basically when you go through the questionnaire, they're going to be something to tell you whether you get the card or not. Even if you've had it for more than 48 months, you may still not get the card. So the issue now is if you downgrade it and then try to apply for a new card, there's a possibility because
That's
of
crazy.
bonus history or open cards, they may not be giving you the card. What do you think about that, Scott? Just right off the bat, do you like that they get rid of the 48-month rule and the pop and replace it with pop-up jail instead?
Absolutely not. I don't think that's a good thing. You know, I mean, they're it's so ambiguous. I don't know what they're trying to say. And I hope this isn't a sign of other things to come for other Chase cards.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear about how they implement this.
I mean, the people who used to get the ink cards, like 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, those days are harder now. It's not easy to get a bunch of ink cards now like you used to anymore. So I think they have already tightened up. I mean, they're not the only bank that does 524. I mean, there's Capital One and such that do 524 and things like that as well. Okay, so the way it looks like is if you do the application, there's going to be some eligibility check, and then there's going to be a pop-up that says you're not eligible for the bonus because you don't qualify. It has nothing to do with 48-month rule, and then you could decide whether you want to continue without the bonus or not. So if there's no pop-up, then you're good and you keep on going. So that's how it's going to look like moving forward. So you could downgrade, you could wait 48 months, you could reapply, but there's still no guarantee you're going to get approved. So there's no more calendar from that perspective. So
can I ask just a question on that, Ben?
Yeah.
For those of you that are in Ben's mentorship class, like I take his classes too, and it seems like he knows everybody. So do you have any inside information on exactly what sort of criteria is going to determine that pop-up jail? Do you know, like, have you talked to anyone? I don't know if you can talk about this on the air. If you can't, you can just message me afterwards. Benefits of being in Ben's mentorship class. You can ask him questions. But like, what's the criteria for that as you're aware of it today?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's going to be really important moving forward is going to be building a relationship with Chase. Because if there's many people who do not have a checking account, do not have a bank account, and banks love relationship. Banks are all about relationships. So when you look at it from that perspective, someone who just comes in, wants to get a sign-up bonus, earn a bunch of points, get the minimum bonus, spend it, get another credit card. I think there's enough data there for them to tell now that says that's not a great client for us. We want to see someone have a checking account with us. We want to see them have a business checking account with us. We want to see them put some money in there. And I think that's going to be a criteria that's going to help you regardless, because the folks I know that are in the credit side of the world that give folks high limits and things like that, it's because of that. So when you look at it from that perspective, the bank is looking at and going, who is a good customer and who is here just for the perks and not really looking at, so I would say that opening up an account with them and diving deeper, because here's the thing. I used to work in brokerage and financial service a long time, and they used to believe too that if a client brought one product with you, they would be there for like maybe 1 year. But if they brought 2 products with you, they would be with you for like 3 years. So you got 3 products with you, so the more products that one customer has with the bank, the more locked in. Like if they had the insurance with them, they had a retirement plan with them, they had their checking account, their savings account, it's harder for you to leave them because you have so much stuff connected to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you have a lot of products with them, you're a better profile from a bank perspective, and that's going to give you a chance to get approved more and with higher limits as well, and get approved for more things.
Got it.
Yeah. So I think just coming in and just getting the cards and not having any other relationship, I think is going to be a big red flag for them long term.
That's good. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. 524 rule is going to remain. You can apply even if you have the preferred to the reserve. Coming up next week, it looks like it's eligible for you regardless if you have it or not. And then it could evolve into some bonus eligibility algorithm like Amex uses. We don't know yet. They haven't really said anything, and we don't know what it's going to look like. But I hear a couple of things. Like I said just earlier, I said, I would move some money into a check account or a saving account or open up some brokerage assets to look more profitable. If you're wondering, a lot of times they'll offer like business cash bonuses if you open up a account with them. So if this bank is important to you, I think that's important. I wouldn't cancel the Sapphire product right away and then reapply right away. It looks like it's going to look, not so. I would give it at least 30 days. Some people, by the way, push it and do like 12 days, 14 days. I would say 30 is good. At least to do it. Let it drop off your report first for a second. And then I would also say this, they make money when you use their credit card. That's the biggest reason why people are not getting Amex cards, because Amex knows that you're not spending on their card and you want all the perks. So I think spending on their card is going to help you show activity and show loyalty. And then I think you just got to keep on doing it, for a few months easily with on the Amex side. So I don't think that's going to make any difference on the Chase side as well. So I was prepared for your question, Brooke.
I am sorry that I came in late.
No worries. I put these slides just for you because I had a feeling. We didn't get to cover this yesterday, so I was like, oh, we got more because there's so many things. There's so many little things that are changing that we didn't have a chance to cover it all. We didn't have it, so I want to make sure. So either you cancel or downgrade your Sapphire card before you apply for the other, or you can have both cards and apply for either one. It doesn't matter what order you have. So that's going to be a big change from the things that we're normally used to. So if you get approved for the first card, you can get a bonus for each one, but you just need to be aware that you may not be eligible depending on if you get the pop-up warning or not. All right. So that's about it for now. Let's see here. Do we have any questions from the audience? Let's see if we can put that together here. They're not many Chase.
And for those of you who are watching this, who are on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, let us know what your experience is, because I would like to know, did you get into pop-up jail? Did you apply for this? What were the metrics so that I can better, inform myself, and, we can discuss it sort of in the Points and Miles community. So if you have this experience, please do share it with us.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
Really good.
By the way, Brooke, what is your dining card?
Amex Green right now.
Oh, you're doing Amex Green. Ooh. The green card is a sleeper card that I think is underutilized. I mean, I can't remember the last time someone said the Amex Green. I mean, that is and it's such a good value card there too, by the way. That's such a good value card.
Although I will say I just finished a hotel masterclass with Ben, and I'm actually thinking about, I've really changed my perspective on hotels a little bit. So I'm thinking about shifting my spend over and sort of being more of a free agent, if you will, because there's we talk a lot about Hyatt and we talk a lot about Chase to Hyatt, but there are some incredible hotel programs out there. So I'm thinking about changing my mind, but so far Amex Green.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way you're going to really understand hotels is not like, I love my first choice is, here's the thing. My first choice is always going to be a Hyatt, but sometimes in the place you're at, Hyatt is not always available. It's not the right brand that you're trying to stay at that particular time. Like, ooh, I'm in Vienna. Well, do I want to spend 45,000 points for a Park Hyatt Vienna? It's like, that's the only one. I'm like, what am I working with, right? I'm like, well, that wasn't what I was planning to do. I mean, it's a great one, but is that what I want to do for 5 days? Like, no. So, like, where else am I going to stay at? Maybe a core property makes sense. Maybe I should look at a choice property if I'm in the Scandinavian countries. So I think these are kind of things that we want to kind of come into play. I definitely, know that there's great properties that we should always look at, but I think being able to look at all the properties that make sense sometimes makes sense. Like, for example, the IHG Voco, I don't know if you ever stayed at a Voco property, VOCO. It's really nice and it's low on the points value. Like it doesn't cost a lot. And if you ever had to stay, I'm like, they look really nice if you ever go take a look. And then Hyatt just recently brought out the standard. They finally integrated standard. And now the standard in Bangkok is something that I'm like, I may actually stay there, even though it's not I may stay the standard, and they have a standard X near the Grand Palace. So like if you want to be like walking distance almost to all the tourist places, it's great. It's off the river too. I'm like, oh, this is great. Someone in our group is going to be staying there in next month. So let's see here. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? Do we have any? Whitney, Dawn? I think we had a few people. And then let's just see here. But Scott, do you have any trips coming up next?
Not right now. Maybe just a couple staycays. We just celebrate. Yeah. Not right now planned. So, Brooke, I have 3 young kids, so it's a little harder. It takes a little bit more time. Do you guys have any trips or any tips for young kids? We have 3 young ones, so it's a little trickier.
Or by the way, you're on the island. Obviously, you can go to the other islands. Do you guys go down to Tahiti? Do you guys do Bora Bora? Do you guys do like any of the other South Pacific islands? I'm just curious. What do Hawaiians go to if they're not going to like a local island? I know they like Vegas.
Yeah, that's the 9th island, and I think the 10th island is seriously Japan. I think locals are very like simple and where they want to go. I don't hear a lot of locals traveling to Tahiti or Bora Bora often. But I know for sure those are the places. My wife has been to different places. Like I think she's been to Tahiti before. But other than that, yeah, I think local residents, they love Vegas in Japan.
And I will say too, if you live in Hawaii, you can have a very different experience going to different islands. I mean, within the own Hawaiian chain, like you might have a really fantastic city experience. If you go to Honolulu and you want to do the high-end shopping or things, or you might want to have a really outdoors experience and go to the North Shore. So even though, there's a string of islands, you're Hawaiian, you know what I mean? I just mean my experience is you can have a really wildly varied experience from island to island.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. My wife's from the Big Island, and we love it there because it's just a completely different culture. I think that's the one place in the world with the most concentrated amount of climate zones. So you could literally be snowing on the mountain, drive down, and it's beaches, and we love that there. It's so awesome. Brooke, let us know when you come down to Hawaii next time with your family.
Thank you. We come almost every year, so it's kind of our happy place.
Nice.
When people always ask me, people say, "What's your favorite place you've been?" Because I've been all over the world, right? And I still pick Kauai. I still pick Kauai as my favorite place on the planet every single. And I've been on every continent, except Antarctica, and I still pick Hawaii. So I will let you know.
That is awesome. Yes, for sure.
Brooke, when you go to Hawaii, do you do different islands each time? Do you go to Kauai one time, Oahu the next time, or do you primarily go to Kauai every time? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so we've done them all. In fact, the last time we actually had the opportunity to go to Ni'ihau, which is kind of wild.
Wow.
That's a private island that's owned by the Dole family and kind of kept in reserve for the native Hawaiian people. So that was kind of a neat experience. But we really love the North Shore of Kauai, but we've been to all the islands. And they're all really unique and different in their own ways. And we just find that it's just, Scott, it's a really nice place to be.
Yeah, I agree.
But by the way, I first time I ever went to Hawaii, Scott, was in 2000. And it was, my company sent me there because everybody that was working at the insurance company were all the wives of the military. And then the husbands, I guess they ended their mission. They went home and all the wives left. So when all the wives left, the whole company, like they lost everybody. So I came in as catastrophe to help them. When I came in, I was like, it was like a vacation me. And I was working in LA, we did a lot of volume. They were my shift was 9 to 6. 5 o'clock, everybody's already wrapping up, going home. Right?
Yeah.
You're on vacation.
Go home.
They're like, go home. I remember trying to do inspections on cars. I'm like, oh, we can go and see a car tomorrow, right? And they're like, no, what are you rushing, bro? You're like, next week it's fine. You don't need to come and fix the car. I can drive. It's drivable. I was like,
then were you on Oahu when you were working, or was it a different?
I was on Oahu. Wow. They wanted to keep me because they were like, Ben, if you can eat locomoco, you're like Kamaina with us. You could just stay here. You don't need to go back. They needed people too. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. They even offered. I was there in the end of January. I still remember it was like January 31st. I was there till like mid-February, and they were like, "We got tickets to the Pro Bowl, bro. Do you want to come with us to the Pro Bowl?" It was still like at the time, and I said I turned it down because I had to go home because my girlfriend at the time, she was having her birthday, and I was going to miss her birthday, which I think I ended up missing her birthday because I'm in Hawaii. And I'm like, I hope you understand. She was mad at me when I came back. I'm like,
I have to say, Ben, that I am not shocked that you made friends. Because it seems to me like you make friends everywhere you go. So you're like, I was on a business trip to Hawaii, and next thing I know, I'm going to the Pro Bowl.
I could have easily stayed there and got a Pro Bowl. I went to like a graduate. I went to somebody's graduation. They invited me to graduation. Yeah, I went during the week and a half. I'm there. I'm like, went to graduation. I went to some nightclubs I won't talk about. I was like, okay, they're wild. And then we went to have it was the first time I ever been to Hawaii. So they were taking me like, oh, we're gonna go have some great like lomi, right? And I'm like, okay, where is this? They're like, you're gonna follow. So we went to this like market, like this straight on market, looking like it's like a 7-Eleven, but it was more like a bodega. I walked in and then boom, it opens up like this area where they're like, like you could choose this, and I'm having stuff like I'd never had before. It was so good. And we went to, there was no place to eat. And where we eat, they go, oh, we're gonna go to the park, and we ate at the park.
Love it.
It was such a local experience, right?
You're a local, man. Come back soon, man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I think we're at time. Does anyone have anything you want to add about the card? Well, you know what? Let's do this. When the card comes out, maybe I'll invite everybody. We come back and when they actually come back and say what if we were right about our guesses about what it was going to be, and then we'll probably hear. By the way, we'll probably hear about the Amex Business Platinum, which I just heard today that the 35% back. You know how we get 35% back on the card? Mm-hmm. They're playing around with that.
For the better or the worse?
Not so good. Okay, so they're keeping it, but it's only for the selected airline now.
The one that you shoot in the
this information before everyone else, Ben. It's not even public yet. How do you know these things?
You'll hear about it. You'll hear about it. You'll hear about it when it comes out. You'll hear about it. Man. But that'll be so. We'll probably have to. It's there's like a time right now where it looks like every card is going to be doing something.
Everything's changing.
Everything's changing right now. So there'll be price. So I want to thank everyone for joining. Thank you, Brooke, for joining as well. Thank you, Scott. For joining us today. Scott, tell everyone how they can find you.
Yeah, so we have changed our brand to Hawaii Reward Travel. So you can visit us on our website, hawaiirewardtravel.com. Any locals out there who want to just really level up and learn more about credit cards and travel, you can follow us here or visit our website and get on our email list. So, yep.
And then Brooke?
And I'm with Card Pointers. And if you are interested in learning more about how to maximize every single dollar you spend to make sure it earns the most points possible, you can go to cardpointers.com/Ben, BEN.
Thank you. Yes, I have a code, everyone. Just come see me and then I can take care. And my masterclass for the airline starts on July the 11th. If you folks want to learn about how to use your points, your miles, use the right cards, we're going to cover that. And then the following month, in August 14, we're going to be covering the hotel masterclass where we get someone upgraded. By the way, Brooke, I just one of your students, Eric, that was just there. He said he applied it for a stay that he was staying at the Holston House, and he got upgraded. I kid you not. He's like, let me try with Ben's stuff, and he got upgraded to the presidential suite. So he did a points booking. He got upgraded presidential. It was for his daughter's 15th birthday. So he's like, Ben, the room was $3,300 a night, and they got free. So he's like, okay, Ben. He's like, Ben, I just want to let you know, it worked for me. I will attest to it. He's like, I've been doing this for a long time. Eric's like, I know what my stuff, but I picked up stuff from you, and then I applied it, and it worked. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great story. Yeah, I also just finished Ben's hotel masterclass, and like I said, I consider myself a pretty advanced person, and I learned so much. So I haven't gotten to apply it to a presidential suite for $3,300 a night yet, but that's coming, Ben. That's coming.
It's coming. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We will see you all soon. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Bye bye.
And everyone, bye.